on this show here at Spike Week. We are back with another Freestyle Friday, which means we're going to have some drafts. We're going to freestyle some drafts, hop in as soon as we get done with this intro. But I need a little help from the chat. You guys got to give me some topics, some ideas, some players, some strategies, something. I'm going to pick 3 different ones, a strategy, a player, whatever. Something to freestyle on during the draft, and I got to complete those 3 tasks during 3 or so drafts that we'll do here today on Friday. Let's do it. All right, before we hop into this draft, I need a little bit of help from you guys here in the chat. As we said, if you were not around last Friday for the very first, what we're going to do the rest of the summer is, of course, we're going to rip 2 or 3 drafts every Friday morning. We can hang out, we can talk ball, we can talk whatever floats your boat. But instead of me just, I'm going to draft hundreds of teams on the channel over this summer. We've already done a bunch, even just in the last couple of weeks since these basketball tournaments have launched. On every Friday, I'm going to still draft a bunch of teams, but I'm going to draft some ones that you guys sort of make me draft, and I have to try to, no matter what the challenge is, spin them, freestyle them into a good team. So we'll see how this goes. Last week, what did we do last week? Some zero RB, some robust RB, some elite onesies, some X amount of rookies to take in the draft. What am I missing? Draft the first 4 rounds, the 4 different positions. I'm pretty jazzed up. I may even no one has said this in the chat as of yet, but someone in the Discord this morning brought up DJ Moore. Here we go. Perfect. So right now, as Bernie says, draft 1 player on your do not draft list. This is. I sort of was hoping for one of these, and we can keep it open to draft like any player during the draft that is on my do not draft list. But if you want a player that was a hot topic this morning in the Spike Week Discord, it was DJ Moore, and he is on my do not draft list. I have him ranked. Let's see. I want to go to DraftKings over here. You want to see the insane ADP on DraftKings. I have him 56th, and I'm being real generous. Really generous with DJ Moore. I sort of have admittedly manipulated some of the ADP even to put him at 56. But I think this guy is more in the tier. I think that's still right within the tier here. Yeah, he's in, right? A lot of these guys, frankly, I think are overpriced. But I think this is all sort of a tier-ish, right? Maybe down to lemon or something. Tier-ish of some overpriced wide receivers in the middle round. So I'm going to make DJ Moore my hope, but, drafts don't always go according to plan. I see some good comments in the chat that I'm going to use here, and let's see if we can fill a Millie Maker. Got my free ticket here, which, by the way, oh, for fuck's sake, let's back out of here and try the $3 just to see if we can always pop back in the Millie. Let's see where the $3 is at. The folks on DraftKings are not out this morning. Okay, well, this is going about as well as one could expect. We're freestyling, I guess, is what a young Erik would say. All right, Millie Maker it is. We're 3 of 12. And so here's what we're going to do. Let me get my banners going because it is do not draft list. What was the second one? Player names, food names, and 6 rookies. Ooh, 6 rookies. Okay, but let's try it. Let's try it. Do not draft list, food names, and 6 rookies is what we're going to try. Is what we're going to try for this one. We will see how that works out. The do not draft list, as I mentioned, admittedly going to try to target DJ Moore. He's, as I mentioned, been a huge keep the comments coming. By the way, I will go back as soon as we're done with this draft. We'll use some more of the comments that flow into the chat. If you have any idea, again, any individual player, a stack, a strategy, there are no bad ideas. Well, there are bad ideas. I just won't choose them. There are no bad ideas to put into the chat. But there's honestly an awesome conversation this morning about DJ Moore, sort of just about pricing on. He happens to be the shining example of like used to be good wide receiver. Definitely used to be good. Used to be actually exceptionally underrated was DJ Moore. But he turns 29, I believe, and has been not only just like bad the last couple of seasons, particularly last year, he's been like downright terrible. Last year, if you look at, just about any sort of efficiency metric, success metric, he's down in the like Trey Tucker, Darius Slayton. Like these are NFL wide receivers, but these are not 4th and 5th round picks in best ball, no matter if they're playing with right. He is actually, what's kind of hilarious is he's kind of, last year, the Bills tried to patchwork for 2 straight seasons, frankly, have tried to patchwork their wide receiver room with Curtis Samuel and then Josh Palmer, right? And then they end up with like Amari Cooper and, Brandon Cooks and stuff because those didn't work. But what DJ Moore is actually, what DJ Moore has been for 2 seasons is actually much more of Josh Palmer and Curtis Samuel. But we're treating him like he's, Mike Evans. And that's kind of crazy. In fact, he goes ahead of Mike Evans, right? If we look at ADP, DJ Moore, 43 overall. Mike Evans, also a veteran wide receiver who was once good, but actually has still been good the last couple of seasons, albeit with a bunch of injuries, goes 10 picks later, 9 picks later, 10 picks later. And he's on the 49ers. The 49ers are a great offense. Kyle Shanahan also goes Burr. So it's been an interesting morning again in the Spike Week Discord, which, shameless plug, if you subscribe to Spike Week Premium, you get all this stuff, right? The tools you'll see here on your screen with the draft hacker showing you anything that you want to see. But I have, my exposures plus all of my sort of combinatorial exposures. And then as soon as we get the schedule, right, it'll have the playoff schedule. It shows you my correlations, right? Correlations with teammates, correlations with week 17 opponents, correlations with your quarterback. You can see all of that stuff. It'll highlight on the screen, et cetera, et cetera. And then, this fun little draft optimizer where I have set all of my target exposures for every single player, and it will help keep me on track with what I want to accomplish over the whole summer. If I say I want 0 DJ Moore, it's never going to put DJ Moore at the top of the list. If I say I want 1% DJ Moore and he's the best pick, he's the top pick by ADP, it's going to say, hey, you remember you said you wanted 1% DJ Moore. Those kinds of things will happen there, et cetera, et cetera. But you can join us in the Discord. It comes free with your Spike Week Premium subscription, $39.99 a month or $200 for the year. And there were like 1,000 messages just on DJ Moore and the Bills and everything before this show went live. It was actually really, really fun. And even though like my take on DJ Moore has not changed, I find those conversations to be like super fun and enlightening. You always learn something or you think about something from a different angle by having those conversations. DJ Poor. Where was it? DJ Less. I like these. These are good. I'm in on this. GM. Moore was hurt last year. Isn't this always the... So what about 2 years ago? Why did he suck 2 years ago? He was hurt then too. And so I'm not saying you're wrong. Cloudy Head says Moore was hurt last year and played through it. Maybe, but he sucked 2 years ago. So was he hurt then too? And then, so is he just injured, right? We hold injuries against players, but then we use injuries as an excuse when their production sucks. And so then, okay, so is he injury? So he's very injury prone then, right? If for 2 years he's been hurt, like congrats on the tough guy award, I guess, but we're playing fantasy football, right? Like I don't get to get excited with you in the locker room because you played through an injury. I need fantasy points. So has he been hurt for 2 years, or does he suck, or is it, he's getting older, and it also tends to often be the older guys who are the ones who were like, well, he was playing through an injury, and it's like, and then when they don't get better, we're like, like if a 22-year-old who was good at if Bijan struggles this year, we'll be like, well, I mean, it's Bijan. When a 29-year-old on a clear decline for multiple different seasons struggles, it's really hard for me to say like, oh yeah, he'll just bounce back, because go look at the history of these types of late career wide receivers who were once good, as DJ Moore does, and then start to fall off a cliff. It doesn't just they may recover a little, right? Like Keenan Allen recovered a little, but we're not. That's recovering to like, okay, this dude's like, no one's arguing DJ Moore's not draftable. He goes to pick 43. Like the problem is him at his price and all, right? So he has to be better than he was last year. The Bills have to throw more. They have to, like, there's like all these different boxes that he has to check. And then even still, the opportunity cost around him is crazy. Oh, so you want to stack him with Josh Allen? Okay, well, now you'd spent on DraftKings at least a 3rd round and a 4th round pick on him. Maybe a 2nd round and a 4th round pick on that stack. It just becomes really thin, right? We're playing a market game. Price matters. Oh, wow, 100%. I'm London. God damn it, I forgot to send my lineups over again. Let's do do not draft list food names. Oh, well, I have to draft Rashee Rice. There's a food name. Okay, we checked our food name off. Rashee Rice. I wish I could have got lamb, but we got a sun god and some rice on this team. Let me just while I'm in between picks here, send over my teams so that the updates in the draft decker, because I know I drafted Malik Neighbors yesterday. Ooh, that's a fun one. Also fun. A lot of fun. A lot of fun here. Let's see. This is a great question. First of all, this is funny. DJ Moore just has the quitter mentality. He kind of does also, if we're being honest. So like he is a weird player, right? Like, so let's say he was playing through an injury. He was definitely once good, and he definitely was like, I loved DJ Moore. If you weren't around last year, a lot of folks, rightly so, thought he was cooked. He was like a 4th round pick last year too, right? Right, but we get Ben Johnson, we get hopefully a leap from Caleb Williams, and all that's the offense becoming better, and all that stuff happened, and yet DJ Moore's efficiency still cratered. And so then it's like, right, these are all the arguments we have to make, not just DJ Moore, but just like these players who sucked or whatever. When we have to jump all these hurdles, when we have to pull, as I mentioned, but when you have to pull out the magnifying glass, when you have to pull out the magnifying glass to this degree to make a case for a 4th round pick, maybe they shouldn't be a 4th round pick, is sort of the point. And so DJ Moore, like, oh, before it was, well, you just need, we need better quarterback play. Okay, he gets Caleb. Like, oh, well, no, Caleb's too bad. That's why. Like, okay, well, we just need the offense to get better, and there's no good players around him, right? He has no help. These are all the excuses we make all along the way for him to suck. And I made them. I drafted him last year. I made these excuses. And it's like, look, he can bounce back. Right? It's possible. It's still possible. It was definitely possible last year. And so you're making all of these cases. And then we have to change. We have to move the goalposts to, well, he didn't bounce back because the other guys were too good, right? Burden, Loveland, and Rome are too much target competition. And then it's like, So you wanted a better offense. You got it. You wanted better quarterback play. You got it. But now he's not good enough, right? Like Bird and Loveland and Rome are good football players. I'm really excited about, but like it was rookie Bird and rookie Loveland. Rome's okay. And like Burden didn't really come on until the second half. Rome only played 12 games. Loveland didn't really come on that strong until later in the season. It's like you see what there's so many it's Swiss cheese arguments, and again, that's not to say that this kind of guy can't succeed. And I'm literally going to draft hoping that he does succeed in a moment. But you see the point that like that's sort of how I tend to think about specifically the higher picks. Really, I'm never going to deny the fact that someone like a DJ Moore has like like if he bounces back, the Bills have to throw more, whatever. Like absolutely he can have a great season, but that you're already paying for the great season. He better have it. There's no room to really grow, and there's no margin for error specifically because of all the flaws. So that is generally my issue. He says as he now drafts Josh Allen to set up DJ Moore in this draft. The things you love to see that is what makes this fun. Like this doing the drafts on Friday with you guys is because I'm really forced out of my comfort zone a lot of the times, but they're not necessarily bad picks, right? You can make a case for certainly Josh Allen, certainly DJ Moore. They're not. I don't like it. Or right, 6 rookies. I don't really want to be drafting teams with 6 rookies. But does it mean you can't draft a good team with 6 rookies? Of course not. Draft food names. Rasheed Rice, pretty good food name. How many Josh DJ Moore are you going to draft? Probably just this one. You're watching it. Oh, shoot. This is a good one. DJ Moore reminds me when Allen Robinson went to the Rams a few years ago. That's what it was like. Just trust the Rams. Just trust the Rams. Don't look at Allen Robinson's data. And it's like, no, when the guy shows you he's cooked, he's generally just cooked. There are outliers to everything. There's caveats to every art, right? Anything is possible. Nothing is binary. There's no concrete rules in this game and in sports, right? Some guys have miraculous injury recovery, some don't. Some guys have 2 or 3 bad seasons in a row and then they're out of the NFL and they suck. And some guys, God damn it, I can't believe I have to do this. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Rasheed Rice. At least I'm building a 0 running back team. So and now I'm also going to be forced into my comfort zone. And a lot of these rookies I'm going to have to take are like rookie running backs. And I hate them even more than I hate DJ Moore, I think. But yeah, like it's possible, but we have to play this game of like I said, okay, so does DJ Moore have more or less flaws than T. Higgins, than Zay Flowers? Does he have more or less flaws than Zay Flowers? Does he really have a higher ceiling than Tedero and McMillan? Does he even have a higher ceiling than Garrett Wilson? Like Garrett Wilson, we know is good. To what degree? Again, we can argue. Does he have more or less upside than Lab McConkey? Lab McConkey did it as a rookie. He had a little bit of a down year last year, but he was still much better. Much better is probably a little bit exaggerating. He was better. He wasn't as good. So there's some concern for Lad, right? But we also are excited about the Chargers offense. Justin Herbert is a good quarterback to be attached to for fantasy ceiling. So it's just like opportunity cost plus, like I said, sort of the Swiss cheese argument. It's like Swiss cheese is still cheese. It's just got a lot of fucking holes in it, I have to look. What year was that? Allen Robinson. So what was that? 2022. So in 2021, it's still possible he was a little bit better because but this is kind of similar. In 2020, A-Rob still had a pretty good season. 2021, granted, it's only 12 games, but it was rough, right? It was rough. Let's look at some efficiency metrics. What do we say? For fuck's sake, click. Allen Robinson. God, I love that it labels him as Detroit. Okay, 2021. Receiving. This was his last good season, right? 2021 is what we said. Okay, we still got time. So he broke out in year 2, then kind of sucked in 2016. What a weird career this guy had. Dude, holy shit. So obviously yards per route run is not everything. It's just a good quick gauge of like how efficient were you really. There's other things that go into this, but especially, there's no yak ever with Allen Robinson. He went from, even in that last good season, 2.05 yards per run, so pretty good. 1.8. He was never really maybe as good as we even thought. He was just got a million targets on bad teams, right? So we're giving him the excuse for the bad teams. But then even on that bad team the last year, it was awful. And I mean, this is next level bad. DJ Moore is better than this. So, but Allen Robinson was probably worse as he but this is a good example, right? Like in 2020, Allen Robinson was still very good. How rookies price would work here, so would the wide receivers. Let's do some of the wide receivers. I have Josh Allen, and so I could do Jadarian Price, but I take Carnell Tate. I need to draft 6 rookies. I would really rather draft the rookie wide receivers. So I'm going to try to focus on them. Plus, maybe the rookie wide receivers can chaperone DJ Moore to week 17, and that's when he'll have his good game. Nez, shout out Nez. Where's your? Oh, you got your. Oh, look at you being all proper with your. Thank you for being proper with your DraftKings username with your real name. All these, dude. The AOL Instant Messenger culture of fantasy football just drives me nuts. So I appreciate you putting your real name on the full government name. I love it. It's so good. One of my best drafts has 6 rooks so far. Well, hopefully this will be one of my best as well. Damn it, Jordan Tyson. I was going to try to double tap Tate and Tyson. Lemon might fall back to me next. Maybe I'll take Jadarian Price here, though. Let's see. This is probably the correct team to take Jadarian Price on, given my need for some running backs and my need for rookies. And there he goes. Fuck me. All right. Lemon goes at 70. Okay. What about food names? We got any food names here? Washington, Pierce, Hubbard, Hertz, Kraft. Kraft is a food name. Okay, I can't take Kraft. Let's go Parker, Washington. I'm going to take a lot of rookies. I would like to blend some wide receivers here. Let's see. Yeah, this is Cloudy says the price is the deal breaker. Diggs will be same or better with way less investment. I'll also say what's interesting about just the fact that you brought up Diggs is best ball has changed like to a substantial degree over the years. But I remember, was this Best Ball Mania 1? Diggs year 1 on the Buffalo Bills. So Josh Allen wasn't quite. We got a crazy discount on Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs back then, because back then, it's so funny how things change. Back then, Josh Allen hadn't fully broke out all the way yet. So year 1 Buffalo, right? Diggs leads the league in targets, catches, and receiving yards. But you knew that Stephon Diggs was good, very good, and he was going to Buffalo. But then, so this is 2020. Yeah, so Best Ball Mania 1. Jesus. We thought veteran wide receivers changing teams was bad. That's what we used to think. It was like rookie tight ends are bad. Don't draft them. They never do anything, right? Wide receivers changing teams is bad. That's what we used to think. Diggs was sort of the beginning of bucking that trend, and it has been often bucked over the years. And so Diggs was like 7th and 8th round picks for Diggs and Josh Allen back then in 2020. And but that was Diggs again. Diggs was better. We didn't know that Josh Allen was this back then. That was when he started to become this. Like Diggs unlocked him, essentially, is what happened. And so it's kind of an interesting comp. Obviously, same team was what Diggs was on then. Obviously not now. And I know that wasn't what your sparked that comparison in my head. I didn't read the Discord today, but I never clicked DJ all year. The wide receivers that go around him look so much better than Shakir. Yeah, so what's interesting is so like when I say things like about efficiency and stuff, I don't have to be preaching or whatever. And we're about to be back on the clock, but I can get this rolling. So that I can show you direct from the horse's mouth the data. Let's just put minimum 50 targets in here. Okay. That's what I kind of like to use that as I have no real reason that I'm using 50, but I mean, if you're getting 50 targets in an NFL season, you're probably pretty decent, right? Oh, what year? Oh my God, this is 2021. This was the elite Cooper Kupp year. Cooper Kupp, Debo, Devontae, Antonio Brown, Deontay Hardy, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Tyler Lockett was still good back then. All right, let's make some picks. Oh, got to take Kraft, right? For the food portion of the draft. Yeah. All right, so we checked off some of the food portions and one rookie. What's the other one? Do not draft list. Okay, do not draft is done. Food, I'm considering it done. If I make two rhymes about food in a freestyle, I think that suffices. And then we need 6 rookies, so I need 5 more rookies out of what round was this? 7? Okay. 5 rookies and 13 picks. Fuck me. That's brutal in this class. Is there even who's the next rookie that even goes? Good Lord. Who is the next rookie that goes? KC? Concepcion at pick 120? Oh boy. Maybe I should have taken some rookies earlier. That's not great. Not great. I like this. It's just a price. Like, I think it's very likely that DJ Moore is just not very good. And sometimes not very good wide receivers can be good on teams like the Bills, no doubt. I don't want to take him over Lamar Jackson and Zay Flowers and Mike Evans and Terry McLaurin and who am I missing? And Jameson Williams and Ladd McConkey and whatever. I don't want to take him over those guys. Geez, there's no rookie tight ends really I want to take, so I could do Laporta. I haven't drafted Jalen Warren yet, and I could really use some running backs. Famous last words for a team for mine. Okay, I just want to look up just for reference. 2025, all wide receivers in the NFL with a minimum of 50 targets last year. Yeah, this is what is going to happen. I'm going to have to. Jesus, it's going to be terrible. So again, yards per route run is not everything, but you sort of can see the difference. Like Puka 3.57 yards per hour and 3.42 yards per hour are absurd. But that's what you see, superstars at the top, right? Then you see like a bunch of really good players: Zay, Amon-Ra, CD, Pickens, Burden, London, Watson, whatever. You see all these guys, right? And it's like, yep, okay, all checks out. By the way, Parker Washington 13th. It all checks out. Right? A little bit of Mike A.J. Brown concern is that he's still good. 1.96 yards per route run is fine. AJ Brown used to be at the top of this list most years. So down here is a little bit concerning. And Romeo Doubs was actually pretty close to him last year. But you notice I have to keep scrolling and keep scrolling. Shout out Ryan Flanoy, 32nd overall, ahead of Mike Evans. Keep scrolling. Anybody see DJ Moore here in this top 50? Nope. We got to add more names to the list. And we keep scrolling and we keep scrolling. This was definitely scary for Ladd, also for Juwan. Xavier Worthy, tough scene. But here's DJ Moore. 1.24 last year, yards per route run. Next to Trey Tucker. So I kept making this joke I'm like, if you would draft Trey Tucker in the 4th round, if he were on the Bills, then go for it. A little bit of hyperbole, right? But like Darius Slayton, Trey Tucker, Christian Kirk, Calvin Austin, Sterling Shepard, Chimere DK, right? He's like more like Jerry Jeudy and these types of guys. Quentin Johnston, whatever. Not stylistically, but maybe stylistically. That's how he played last year. Go to 2024. I believe it was a little better. in 2024. Well, when you control F him in the top 50, still not there. 59th. So 1.4, little smidge better. 1.4. Sorry, I want to see where we're at in the draft. 1.4. So again, Calvin Austin. He seems to be awfully Calvin Austin-y for a 4th round pick if he's right next to a Calvin Austin. But again, like Josh Palmer went from the Chargers a couple years ago to the Bills, and he was even better than DJ Moore was on the Chargers. And so, it's just, this is 100%. People showing up late wondering why you're shitting all over DJ Moore when you drafted him on this team. If you're showing up late, it's Freestyle Friday, and I've been tasked with drafting someone on my do not draft list. And DJ Moore is on my do not draft list. And so Goff is here. I have Amon-Ra. Yeah. Every Friday, you will see at the little ticker at the bottom are the sort of prompts that I have to use to make a team. I have to draft someone for my do not draft list. I have to draft someone with a food name or food names. Of course, you see Rashee Rice and Tucker Kraft, and 6 rookies, which I better get cooking on the 6 rookies. Green. Yep, that's true. Okay, that's funny. That is funny. Tootin' as a food name. It's food adjacent. I've been pretty out on DJ but counters. He had 4 great spikes last year, and his freelancing playstyle should probably fit better with Allen and Ben Johnson's space. I mean, maybe Caleb is a big-time freestyler. Caleb is like one of the ultimate freestylers. So Ben Johnson may not like it, but neither does Joe Brady. He had 4 great spikes last year because of the Bears, right? That's actually part of the Bear case. No pun intended or pun intended. Dalton Kincaid or Concepcion to check a rookie. Look, if Josh Allen and DJ Moore are going to be cooking, we're going to be passing in Buffalo this year. And I'm taking Dalton Kincaid, tight end 2. It also opens up the door for me to draft a bunch of crappy rookie running backs, of which I'm probably going to need to, given this team. But that's the thing, is like, he had spikes last year. Is like, okay, so should we have drafted Cedric Tillman in the 4th round if he got traded? Like, no, because how good you perform, just because you have a big fantasy spike, right? This is, I did this. Okay. When I'm saying these things, I'm speaking from experience. You want to know who was riding the train of Gabe Davis in the 4th round a few years ago? Because he was on the Buffalo Bills, because he had some big spikes, and ignoring you actually have to be, how do you get spikes in the future? You continue to be good at football, not just sort of luck box your way by running a bunch of routes, right? Gabe Davis in the 4th round, not a good decision because he's not a good enough football player. Past spikes by bad players are not predictive of future spikes by the same bad player, even if you're in a good situation. And so I agree. He had some spikes last year. So did Trey Tucker. So did Gabe Davis has. Quentin Johnston has. Whatever. We don't just draft because you had a couple of big games. Like, the full picture matters. To continue to get spikes, you have to be a certain level of good. A 29-year-old who continues to get worse every single season is generally not the guy who's going to continue spiking for you. It's not that he won't have any. It's not that he can't do it. It's not that it's impossible, all that kind of stuff. But again, price. If I was paying for just like some random spikes because he's on the Bills, dude, fucking sign me up. All day, every day. Like, at a certain point, I don't really care if you're bad if you're on the Bills. I agree. I drafted a bunch of Josh Palmer last year. I've drafted Curtis Samuel. Some people hate Khalil Shakir, right? They won't draft Khalil Shakir even though he's on the Bills and he's had spikes. And he actually is efficient and earns targets, but it's because I get it. He's a slot receiver, right? But like, it's just, again, those are like the holes in the argument. It's not that it's wrong. It's not that things can't happen. It's a difficult case to hold up, right? If you took this case to court on why this guy should go 43rd overall, you would lose the case. You would go to jail right away. Believe it or not, jail, I believe is the quote. Yeah, please don't remind me. Myself being reminded of my 20% 4th round Gabe Davis is bad enough. Awful. Just awful. Is DJM better than Pearsall? He's a bad number 1, but he's not bad. I mean, he's been bad for 2 years. So is Trey Tucker a bad number 1? Yes. Trey Tucker has been just as good as DJ Moore for 2 years. So, like, I don't know. It's just hard for me to, like, I think we're holding on to hope about DJ Moore, which I think is fine. Nothing wrong with that. But we just have to understand that it's just hope. Okay, rookies. Oh, Omar, baby. Oh, he doesn't go for a little bit. Let's see. C-Rod. Fuck, I shouldn't have taken. Okay, 3 tight ends it is, I guess, on this team, huh? Sadiq. All right, we're gonna tell the fake story about why I'm taking a 3rd tight end this early. Sadiq. Craft Kincaid doesn't always run all the routes. I'm drafting him for those couple of spikes a year. You know what I mean? He's really efficient. High yards per route run, high targets per route run. Good receiver. But he's had some knee stuff lingering. He misses some time. And he doesn't run all the routes, right? He needs a certain game script to pop. So, that along with Tucker Kraft being coming off of an ACL, I kind of need, I'm sure the 3 points a game from Sadiq in the first month to carry me through with those guys. Ultimately, I just need a rookie. And so we're going to double tap Jets rookies here. Nothing quite says winning team like Sadiq is your 3rd tight end and another Jet rookie in 11th and 12th round. Allen is going to air it out to DJ Moore. Well, can't dispute that. We can just say stuff, and ain't nothing I can do about it. Could be possible. Yeah, Travis Fulgham, good comp. When drafting, we had just a different kind of hope. I drowned my mistakes with hopium. Let me go check out drafters over here because I want to. Ooh, the main is 5 of 12. What's the 2? 10 of 12. Let's do the main because that'll give me a minute to finish this draft. Okay, I need 6 people for the drafters main. If any of you would like to come join, it's a nice time. I know I totally understand that sometimes they can take a little bit to fill. And so we have a couple minutes. for it to fill, but this way we can get in a drafter's main, and you don't have to wait if you're doing it later. And I will pick out the new prompts. If you have any other draft strategy ideas, please drop them in the chat. As I mentioned on Fridays, I'm going to draft a few best ball teams with a little bit of a twist where Freestyle Friday, you guys give me 3 ideas to freestyle on in the draft, and I will build them into the team. For this draft, it is someone from my do not draft list, food names, and 6 rookies. So we're amidst accomplishing that here over on DraftKings. You joke, BKGJ says draft all rookies. You joke, but I did try that last year. I did not advance. Spoiler alert. I did not advance that team. If you draft a faller, wow. Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. Ooh. Okay, let's. Do I have? Oh yeah, I already did a QB2. I really should have just fucking done Mendoza, but I also really need some freaking running backs. I am gonna take Keaton though. Damn, I really screwed this up. Not going with more early rookie wide receivers, baby Mendoza. I should have done Mendoza, Sadiq, and like a couple of early rookie wide receivers. Obviously, I have Carnell Tate. But I'm really backed into a bit of a corner here. Needing rookie running backs. How many rookies do I have? Carnell Tate, Sadiq, and Cooper. Shit. Denzel Boston getting ready to come on down. Come on down, Denzel Boston. Now, I need to put some rookie running backs in the queue. Otherwise, it's going to get bad here. I might finally get Emmett. Then people are going to troll me later like, I thought you said you weren't drafting these rookie running backs yet. Holy shit, it's bad back here. Kalen Black. Am I going to have to draft Kalen Black? Okay, this is a good lesson learned that if you want to draft some more rookies, don't do this. Don't do this. I am going to put like Antonio and Stribling in the queue just to have. Oh, speaking of, Skylar. Put Skylar in the queue. So that is 14 picks. 3 of my last 6 need to be rookies. 2 of my last 6 need to be rookies. Yeah, 2. Okay. That is true. Oh, man. 200. You have to reach 200 total picks over the course of the entire draft. Holy Lord. Claiborne. I don't mind. I mean, I liked Claiborne as a prospect. Okay. He's in the queue. In your opinion, what is the optimal number of players per position? I understand that each draft is different. Yeah. If I had my druthers in a draft, in a 20-round draft, it would be 2, 7, 9, 2. And why is that? Partially because, oh my God, that came out of nowhere. I sneezed at a roster construction question. When people say, not even roster construction, right? This is like positional allocation. I'm allergic to it, I guess. It's because I'm gonna in this. I get to make up the scenario, right? I have 2 really good quarterbacks. I have 2 really good tight ends, and then I have all these bullets to build out stacks around them, to build out secondary stacks outside of them, to take shots on upside flex options. And like I've said, my quarterbacks are rock solid, my tight ends are rock solid. Now I'm winning quarterback with only 2. I'm winning tight end with only 2, and I'm gonna go win the flex with having more bullets in the chamber at running. Right, I have to fill 5 spots: 2 running back, 3 wide receiver, and a flex amongst all of those other guys. Of course, the tight ends can fill the flex, but they're lower scoring. They fill the flex less frequently. So I want to win it with right. Like I know that there's not going like who is this year's Kyron. I know there's not going to be a this year's Kyron, but I would rather end up having a Kyron or a Bucky or a whatever, helping create my flex be a really high upside running back or wide receiver than the alternative. I mean, Mike Washington is one rookie. Branch could be, yeah. Branch is not my favorite prospect, but I cannot deny the fit with Tua. Branch cannot run downfield. Tua cannot throw downfield. So that is a pretty good match there. They would have matched on Tinder or what Bumble or what. I don't know what I'm not an expert in all of the dating apps anymore. I've been married for a while. I'm gonna take JSN here, and then we will get through this DraftKings pick, and then we'll pick our next 3 freestyle words. Okay, so I have 5 rookies. How many? Damn, I can't believe I can't take some of my guys here because I need running backs. You know, this team really does need someone like, this is disgusting. Needs someone like Emmanuel Wilson. Like, these running backs are bad, man. These running backs. Jalen Warren, Keaton Mitchell. Like, I think I need to get to 8 running backs on this team. Yeah. Jalen Warren, Keaton Mitchell, Mike Washington, Emmanuel Wilson. Yeah. Let's just get. I only need 1 more rookie running back, so I want to add some of these vets to the queue. Vidal, Sean Tucker, fine. Jalen Wright, Justice Hill, probably a pretty good fit on this team. Okay. All right, let's get our draft number 2 prompts ready. Hold on, let me go back. I want to make sure I don't miss the. Okay, that sold. 1, draft 3 players from your hometown or district or area. So that is St. Louis, as I'm sure you can probably guess from all the shit behind me. Name another human being on planet Earth with a Darius Miles jersey on their wall. There's St. Louis Blues. There's Ozzie Smith. There's SLU Billikens basketball. It's all St. Louis shit. I obviously ride or die with St. Louis, so I need to take 3 St. Louis players. I have a good idea of most of them. I probably do not know every single one of them, but that's a good one. Okay. Oh, God. I see why Dad's earlier comment is really good. Okay, done. St. Louis players, reach. I like this. Reach at least 6 ADP spots in 4 of the first 5 rounds. Obviously, I did not reach on JSN, so now for the next 4 picks, I have to reach. And okay, I'm into this. It's my pick. So I have to reach here at least 6 spots. So we got to scroll down, and I have to be able to name the. So this is pick 19. So I need to go to Jeremiah Love. Checks both boxes. He went to Notre Dame, and he's from St. Louis. Boom. So there's three. There's my three prompts. Okay. It is three hometown players reach in how do I type that? Doesn't sound inappropriate. I'm going to do rounds 2 through 5 reach. And what was the last one? Oh, name their college. New prompts. These are good. These are really good. I'm a big fan of this. Now I can't find the comment that's to get it off the screen. Back on the clock on DraftKings. Got a couple more picks to make over here. Braylon. Okay, Braylon works. Oh, no. All right, we're going to take Emmett. Sorry to demand. I'm an Emmett bro, and I'm using this to get Emmett as my last rookie over here on DraftKings. That is my 5th running back. Jesus Christ, Emmett Johnson, RB5. What a disaster. What I really want to do here now is I actually really hope Kamani Vidal falls. Okay, so three players from St. Louis. I got to reach at least 6 picks in the. It was within the first 5 rounds. I got to do it 4 times, and I did not do it with JSN. So I'm going to do it with all these other picks. Okay, so this is pick 30. I need to go to at least ADP 36, and then I also have to know what college the player went to, right? I'm trying to. All right, we're going to go Zay Flowers, Boston College. Zay Flowers, Boston College. Damn, who just took Vidal? That sucks. Okay. Let's do Jalen Wright on DraftKings. On DraftKings, not for the audio listeners. I did not take Jalen Wright in the 3rd or 4th round on Drafters. Okay, so Zay's around pick 36. I took him at pick 30. Jeremiah Love's around pick 23. I took him at pick. Is that right? Yeah. I took him around pick 25. I took him at pick 19. And JSN I haven't reached at all. And of course, Jeremiah Love went to Notre Dame and from St. Louis, the old double whammy. And which I guess they all have to be double whammies because I have to be able to know their college to pick them. And Zay Flowers, Boston College. Zeke does count. Draft someone named Steven and someone named Jackson. That's good. Three St. Louis is probably too few. Also, I screwed this. I could have taken Burden. Luther Burden is from East St. Louis, but close enough. I could have taken Burden there. I do have a question. A ruling from the chat is required here. I pick at 43. If someone's ADP is 48.6, does that count as 6 picks of reaching? It's technically 5.6 picks of reaching, but I need to know I need to know what the chat says, and I should have asked this before since there's a little delay in the old stream. See, I can't take Burden here because it's not a big enough reach, but I need to get to pick 49. I took Love. 5.6 rounds up to 6. That's what I'm saying. I'm counting. We're counting it. Jameson Williams, Ohio State, and then Alabama, and the pride of St. Louis. Jameson Williams, reaching by 6 spots, went to Ohio State out of high school, and then transferred to Alabama, and is from St. Louis. What does this mean? Axel, doesn't everyone have either odd or what's the alternative to having odd or even numbers in your last name? Isn't that like a day ending in Y? Help me. Explain it to me. I'm probably just misunderstanding. I'm not that smart. I got 6 rookies over here on the DraftKings team, right? Tate, Sadiq, Cooper, Boston, Mike Washington, and Emmett Johnson. Okay, well, we built a really crazy 0 running back team. I'm not going to do Kalen Black. I am going to do Sean Tucker. Oh, pick one. Oh. See, I told you my brain is not very intelligent. Okay, I'm about to be back up over on Drafters. I have to reach by 6 picks, and this is my last reach, and I have to be able to name his college. Okay, so I can't take a faller. So pick 60 or later. Just checking for. I took Tate, so now let's do Jordan Tyson, Arizona State, Colorado before Arizona State. This is fun. I'm having fun. So we reached. So for anyone joining late, it's Freestyle Friday, meaning we're having some fun, drafting some teams, but we're sort of freestyling while we do it, meaning the draft strategy and such is going to be a bit crazy because I'm asking for help from the chat. I did take Malik Davis as my last pick over here on DraftKings. Yes, that's 8 running backs. That's what happens when Keaton Mitchell is your RB2. It's a very extreme Erik 0 running back team, but I kind of don't hate it. And I know that sounds crazy to a normal brain person. But the prompts on the first draft were, what the hell were the prompts on the first draft? 6 rookies. Had to take at least 6 rookies. Had to draft at least some kind of player with a food name or food names. And draft a player. Well, we talked about DJ Moore for about 40 minutes because I had to draft DJ Moore because he's on my do not draft list. I had to draft somebody who's on my do not draft list. And that was DJ Moore. So I had to, as Dorito said, talk for 30 minutes about how terrible of a fucking pick DJ Moore is while also drafting him on the team. That's actually if there's a point of this silly Friday show, that's kind of it, actually, is being pushed out of your comfort zone onto players or strategies or whatever. I don't like taking 6 rookies either. I'm not that high on this rookie class. I mean, food names I'm pretty indifferent on. I can get behind some food names, but you get pushed out of your comfort zone a little bit and draft some stuff that you won't normally draft. In this draft, I have to draft 3 hometown players, which for me is St. Louis, Missouri. And then in rounds 2 through 5, I had to reach at least 6 picks on every player I drafted in rounds 2 through 5. And for every single selection I make, I have to be able to name the college that the player went to. And if I cannot name the college that he went to, I cannot draft that player. There you go. Undercat contest from 2 years ago. Only draft players with teams with a cat mascot or a bird mascot. Okay, we're done with reaching, but now I still have to get to my St. Louis guys, and I have to name the school, right? I mean, I'm going to take Carnell Tate, the Ohio State University. We have 1 St. Louis. No, 2. I already have 2. Okay, I already have 2 St. Louis. I'm not super familiar with the late round guys and how many there are from St. Louis, so I probably need to pounce on a St. Louis player when I get the opportunity. I haven't thought about it this way, so I need to do a little bit more proper planning. Here's what I'll also say is we St. Louis folk, we claimed the whole. So St. Louis is on the river. The river goes on the Illinois-Missouri border, but we all, like, if you're from the St. Louis area, you're from St. Louis. Like, the St. Louis city is not very big at all. And if anybody that's been here or lives here can attest, like, when you do stuff in St. Louis, you don't really go downtown unless you're going to a sporting event. actually quite like Ramondre Stevenson, Oklahoma. And I quite like him, actually. I quite like him on this team. Dun, 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 dun. What's crazy about Ramondre is he's viewed as like shitty. He's really turned into a pretty good NFL back relative to what I think a lot of people thought of him coming out of Oklahoma. Anyway, Cameron asks, do you draft more extreme / fragile on drafters compared to DK? That is a great question. I would actually say yes, because on DraftKings, right, what you're basically asking is playoff format versus cumulative scoring format. On drafters, right, is cumulative scoring, total points. I'm trying to score, but there's 112,000 people. 100, if it fills, there'll be 112,000 teams. So let's just call it 100,000 for basic math, right? I have to beat 999,999 other teams on drafters. I need something sort of weird, crazy that a fragile or extreme team would benefit the most from to happen. Now that can happen in many different ways. There's teams who have won on drafters, with 3 quarterbacks and 4 tight ends and a really balanced roster. Anything can win. Anything can happen. But what do I think is what I tend to call the cleanest path to winning is something sort of extreme. And so that's how I like to build when I'm trying to beat 100,000 people versus on DraftKings, you're sort of trying to beat all of those people, but you're really trying to beat 1,000 in week 17 because you're only trying to beat 10 through the first 14 weeks. And then you're trying to beat 11 in week 15 and 11 in week 16. Those are undeniably difficult tasks, but you almost sort of do need a little bit more, fail safes on DraftKings to just keep the floor high enough that you don't bottom out at any of in the regular season or in week 15 or week 16. You definitely need spikes and everything, right? But you need a little bit of a different thing to sort of win one of those contests. Okay, I don't have a quarterback, but I don't have any of these guys stacked either. And I am just going to take my final St. Louis person, and I was sort of leading the witness when I said Sam Laporta, who went to Iowa, and he's from Highland, Illinois, which is right outside of St. Louis. I went to Muscuda, Illinois, and Sam Laporta, Highland is in the same conference that I played in, that my high school, well, we just changed conferences, but just that played in. So kids from my hometown played against Sam Laporta in high school, and as I said, he went to Iowa, and St. Louis claims Sam Laporta. This is not going to restrict me from drafting more St. Louis people, but you get the point. There's a lot of people from St. Louis. A lot of famous people from St. Louis, actually. All odd or even. Boy, that will be tough. Draft only players associated with Rossini. How would one even do that? The Football Therapist is a hilarious name to be posting about Rossini. That's really funny. Last year, the Eagles were 31st in play action. Researching Mannion, he's a heavy play action offensive coordinator. This should give a chance for a bounce back on Hurts' rushing attempts. What is the correlate? Is a play action highly correlated with quarterback rushing attempts? I haven't looked at, honest to God, haven't looked into that. I will now. So I'm gonna take your question, put it in my pocket, and think about it a little bit more. Okay, I don't have a quarterback. Oh my! That's my hacker's not showing up. That's why it's doing this. Jared Goff, Cal, former number 1 overall pick, from the University of California, Jared Goff. This is fun. This is like dudes sitting around all day naming random athletes' names, except naming random fantasy football players' colleges. This is right in my wheelhouse. I am the generation of that stupid shit. So this is a great prompt for my enjoyment. There's no chance it's a great prompt for content, but at least I'm having fun. Is the Draft Optimizer new for Spike Week? Yes, actually, that reminds me I need to refresh this. The Draft Optimizer is new for this season. I'm working on both written tutorials, video tutorials, stuff that'll go up on YouTube, stuff that'll go up on the website. This weekend is it's Mother's Day weekend, and have my niece's soccer game and stuff. So I don't know exactly when it will be up. I'm hoping Sunday. But also got to edit the podcast with Karain. Sorry, my StreamYard was being wonky. We recorded yesterday, so there's a new Legendary Sickos coming tomorrow. So long story short, yes, the Draft Optimizer is new, and I totally understand that with a new tool that's also kind of in depth, there's a lot of questions, and it can be a little confusing to get up and rolling. It was confusing even for the people who built it a little bit because it's really powerful. It does a lot of stuff. But the very long story short, what I tell people to do is obviously get your Spike Week subscription, download the Draft Hacker browser extension, and then just go to the Draft Optimizer, right? Tools, Draft Optimizer, and just start messing around. The very first thing that I think you should do is go through the player pool and just try to set some target exposures, right? You can remove players, right, which would set them at 0. You can bump players up and down and all around, and just go through the process of setting. Like, that's the number one thing. You can also just use my settings, right? My settings are in there for anyone to use. I don't necessarily recommend that. I don't think you're getting necessarily the most power out of the tool, but you can see what I have put in there if you would just like to use like the sort of Spike Week default settings. I have 8%. I have 100% Wandale with who? Tate? No, with Love. Downs goes, okay. I have Love and Ramondre. I'm pretty cool with that. I mean, Wandale's the top pick in my rankings by far here. I have Carnell Tate, which will give me some fun stacking outs. I already have Goff double stacked. So Wandale Robinson, the pride of Nebraska, of course. Happy Friday. Sweet Leaf says I might have just won 3 million, or maybe I'm just high. That's a good. I was thinking about the reach, get like over the course of your entire draft, get 200 spots of not of anti-value, of the opposite value. But yet technically you could cheat and just draft somebody. They go from like 230 to nothing, right? Yeah. So like the last ADP like drafters has is like 235.6, or it's 0. So you couldn't really cheat the system in that way, right? They don't list it to like, they don't literally go all the way down to like 80 because they don't have 500 picks. Interesting. So maybe I do like that prompt. I have to get my calculator out though to keep track of that one. Both Kentucky and Nebraska. He had a fun college career. Oh, I'm in college basketball. Here, let's look it up. Oh, I'm on the clock. I'm pretty sure I have to take Cam Ward, Miami, Washington State, and Incarnate Word. Washington State to Miami, and I believe it was Incarnate Word before that, right? But Wandale was, you're correct. Wandale definitely transferred, but it was Kentucky to, no, it's Nebraska to Kentucky. God damn it. See, I thought it was Kentucky to Nebraska. That's my stupid idiot fault. It was Nebraska to Kentucky. So I sort of technically got that wrong, but also not totally wrong. Yeah, Nebraska to Kentucky. And then I don't think this will have Incarnate Word on there. So I'll have to go to like his fucking Wikipedia page or whatever. But I'm pretty sure Word, Washington State to Miami, and then it was Incarnate Word. Is that right? Yeah. Jerry Rice Award. 4,600 yards, 47 touchdowns, and 10 picks as a sophomore. And then transferred to Washington State. The college thing is over. They all play for multiple these days. It's a little bit a smidge different in football, though. Yeah, I mean, guys are going to move around for sure, but that kind of makes it a little bit more fun if you can remember the bouncing around that they do. Like, I for some reason thought Wandale transferred from Kentucky to Nebraska. It's clearly the opposite. Random question: where are you at on Andrews? Down on him, bounce back season, meh in between. I would say meh in between. He's too old to like really like bounce back. He just mostly is what he is at this point, which is fine. Totally fine, right? There's nothing wrong with Mark Andrews just being who Mark Andrews is at this point. Man, I really don't like Kittle, but this is a pretty appealing price. Let's do I have not drafted Keaton yet. Keaton Mitchell, East Carolina University. We were thinking about Isaiah Likely. Does anybody know where Isaiah Likely went to school? Same school as Adam Ship My Money Sharer. Isaiah Likely went to. Coastal Carolina. This is going to start getting pretty tricky at the end, I think. This is going to start getting pretty tricky. But I think Andrews is set, without Isaiah Likely. I think Andrew, and hopefully with Declan Doyle in charge with the Ravens, right? And hopefully a little less like boomerish old school Ravens stuff on offense. You know, they still have a defensive minded head coach, but with Doyle in there and like Charlie Kohler's gone. Isaiah, so it's not even just like Isaiah Likely's gone. A sort of the old guard of their tight end room is gone, and so they drafted multiple wide receivers. Now it's 3rd and 4th round picks, but still, Elijah Surratt, and Jacoby Lane, of course, Indiana and USC, respectively, to go with Rashad Bateman from Minnesota and Devontae Walker from North Carolina. And I drafted Zay Flowers on this team. You get the point, though. I think there's a legitimate path to like, whoa, this Ravens offense looks a lot different and they pass more, which could be, given the sort of uncertainty around the wide receivers and the lack of the other tight ends being around, could be like really good for Andrews, even if he's not like particularly special. Dang, man. You guys are killing me with the prices on these tight ends now after I already took one. I'm still just going to take Omar Cooper, Indiana. The rookies are easy. Omar Cooper, Indiana. I don't know where Shaheed went to school. Weber State. That's why I don't know. Weber State. Oh, it said he went to Mount Carmel. I thought there's multiple Mount Carmels in Illinois. I was like, dang, how do I not know him? Wow. Initially planned to attend USC on a track and field scholarship, but went to Weber State for football. Huh. And he was UDFA. Interesting. Yeah, exactly. Shout out Damon. The only person I know from Weber. No, that's not true. Harold Arsenault, right? Damian Lillard and Harold Arsenault, but basketball players. Not. It's the first football player I've heard from Weber State. That's pretty cool. Got a question since we were talking about tools yesterday. Kind of ironic that someone is accusing Flock of. I believe the guy, but also love me some shit. Oh, news to me. If that's happening, that's terrible. But I think my dog's about to puke over here, which is not very fun. Taz, what are you doing? That would not be very fun. Hi. Here he is. Come here. Come here. Oh, shoot. I'm almost on the clock. Oh, darn it. Okay. I probably need some running backs at some point, don't you think? Tight end, though. Oof. It's bad. It's bad. Let's do Brian Robinson from Alabama. He's not. He laid down now. But you know how the dogs sometimes give you the look of it looks like they're going to puke. So this is a obviously a little bit more difficult conversation for me to have, and I don't really want to comment on. I don't have any knowledge of this. I don't know. So I don't know. I have no idea. But like a lot of I don't even know. I have no idea what this individual's tool does or what Fantasy Flock's tools do. I'm could not be less knowledgeable on it. But what I will say is, if we're all building draft tools, they're all going to be somewhat alike. That doesn't mean someone's not stealing. It doesn't mean they are either. So without any knowledge, I definitely can't comment on it. There's always going to be drama in these streets, whether it's totally manufactured tout drama, right? Or people are hating on people who disagree with them, and different discords, people are hating on each other. There's a lot of haters out there, and a lot of negativity, and we're trying to keep good vibes and no dog puke, and I'll have a happy Friday. I have been in the world of fantasy drama in my life, and I look back on it and remember how truly fucking stupid it was to spend my time arguing with people on Twitter about fantasy football and getting in beefs and stuff like that. And I've done it even recently in the last couple of years, and it was it was dumb. It was the biggest waste of time. All right. I don't think I know where Emmanuel Wilson went to school. It's a pretty good price on Hunter Henry, and I already have Ramondre. So I think I'll probably take Hunter Henry from Arkansas. Wonder how many. Arkansas is a kind of a weird, it's obviously an SEC school, but Hunter Henry doesn't strike you as an Arkansas kind of guy, which is probably hella racist. But I don't know how many people would know that one. It seems surprising. Oof, that's brutal. I can also say, so we came out with Draft IQ. I had, before Spike Week really started, I had mock-ups of Draft IQ. I'm just not a developer, so it took some time, right? And then Hacker came on board with us, and we started to build the Draft Hacker. Brick comes out with one. There's messages for me and Brick being like, look, I promise you, we're not copying you. We're not stealing anything from you, whatever. Like, we had plans to build this stuff. Like, those are uncomfortable things, and people are going to judge you and what have you. And since then, quite frankly, people have copied what we did. Not apples to apples, and they didn't like steal it, right? They're entitled to. We're not the first people to build like a portfolio tool in fantasy football, so did we steal from somebody else? I guess sort of. Other people built overlay tools, but like us and Brick, the draft caddy, were the first ones. Now other people, like, it's like, I'm not saying that, again, I'm not saying anything on this particular situation, but like, is it stealing if you just also want to build, right? There's people that build draft overlay tools years after we built them. They didn't necessarily steal it from us. Just how it goes. It's a competitive industry. We all are trying to eat, you know what I mean? In fantasy football. Go do your thing. Yeah, I use the Draft Hacker obviously every single day. The draft IQ, I try to show it like about as much as I can, but it's also I think probably the most powerful thing that exists. I'm going to take I took Keaton, right? Yeah. So I'm going to take, I didn't get Vidal on the other team, but I want to buy this backfield. Kamani Vidal, Troy. Kamani Vidal from Troy. We talked about buying backfields yesterday, and we've talked about it a few different times already. And I'm going to continue to talk about it because I love it. The Chargers are probably my favorite team to attack. I think Keaton is a really fun piece. And Vidal, like, if something happens to Marion Hampton, I think having both Keaton Mitchell and Kamani Vidal could be like the linchpin to the season in all formats, but maybe even more so on drafters. Keaton could be a helpful piece regardless. I think Vidal probably needs an injury. But like the contingent value of, dude, what happens when Hampton doesn't play? Vidal's obviously picking up, work. Maybe he's the passing down back. Maybe he's the passing down back all the time. But Keaton's never going to be like, oh, this is 75% Keaton Mitchell's backfield. But he could be like, dude, if you just get some little bit of Mike McDaniel sprinkle magic, right? Mike McDaniel magic dust on top of Keaton Mitchell with a revamped offensive line. By revamped, I mean like they just got healthier. It added a little bit in second round of the draft and what's his name at center. But like, man, like the efficiency that Keaton Mitchell brings and the upside that Keaton Mitchell brings on a per touch basis, you don't need the full boat. You know what I mean? But then Vidal might get useful games too. So you might be like double whammying this. This is like super poor man's potential Mostert Achane type stuff at non-Mostert Achane prices. Who are my two quarterbacks? Yeah, it doesn't matter. There's no good quarterbacks left anymore. Let's do Braylon Allen, Wisconsin. Yeah, so this may be, I can't say because I don't know how other people's tools are built. What I can say, what Rockard says, damn it. I'm going to start calling you Castle because when I say Rockard, it's very funny. And I can't keep a straight face. And even though I'm approaching 40 years old in a few years, the childish things make me laugh. The guy earlier said Tootin counts as a food name, and I laughed because it's very funny. It's also very childish, but it's very funny. It goes back to what I was saying yesterday. I think data tools are great, but all these tools being the same will result in a lot of similar teams. And see, I can only come at it from the tools that we built, and that's we specifically built them so that you're not building the same teams, right? They're not giving you answers. It's not like they're giving you the answers that you've said that are the answer, right? It's like you You built the flashcards and we show them to, right? You wrote the shit down on the flashcards. And then when you get into the draft, we're just showing them to you, reminding you of the flashcards. You know, I said I keep saying it's like a co-pilot. You're flying the plane. You are there flying the plane. If you want to go left or you want to go right or you want to go down, if you want to go down, you get to fucking go down. We don't decide that. We're just there being like, remember this is in your training manual. Remember this. Remember you said this was a shortcut. You know, I don't know. I don't think that's how flying planes works. But you know, you get the point. It's like I understand that perspective. I just don't wholly agree. I take so much Michael Mayer tight end 3 that I want to get a little bit more Terrence Ferguson, of course, from Oregon. And we're gonna do one more DK draft here, and I want to pop on in there since we're almost to the end here. I would love to do a Millie Maker if we could fill it again, but up to the gang. Location, what the fuck? It needs 7. 7 for a Millie Maker. Definitely not. That's very funny, though. That's funny. Let's see. Shout out Rick. Ooh, good one. Thoughts on Brennan Thompson as a threat to Trey Harris? He's a very real threat to Trey Harris. I don't think from like, I would sort of classify them as playing different positions, even though they're both wide receivers. But Brennan Thompson being this just sort of perfect Mike McDaniel. Maybe I'll pick Brennan Thompson on this team, actually. Hold on, let me check my Jeremiah Love, Ramondre Stevenson, Keaton Mitchell, Brian Robinson, Kamani Badal, Braylon Allen. Shit, I should have paid a little bit more attention. Oh, I'm taking Stribling from, of course, Ole Miss. Prior to Ole Miss, he was at Oklahoma State. And I believe Washington State before that. Is that right? Oh, was ends at Ole Miss last year. Was at Oklahoma State for a year before that, 2 years, and Washington State before that. Okay, I couldn't perfectly remember if it was Washington State, but I mean, Stripling went 33rd overall in the NFL draft, and we just got him at pick 222. We're in room 222. What were we saying? Brennan Thompson. Yeah, I think so. Like, I think Ladd is Ladd, right? Like, Ladd is pretty locked in. QJ is fine. But if Trey Harris doesn't emerge into a little bit more of a full-time role this year, I think it could definitely be because Brennan Thompson is mixing in as that deep threat gadget guy, speed, right? Lid lifter, weapon for Mike McDaniel that is playing more than you would want for Trey Harris. But I do think they play sort of different positions, being that Trey Harris is like this big physical boundary receiver who can block, right? That's not really Ladd's game either. So they'll like almost play in different, like not necessarily different personnel groupings, though it would be in different personnel groupings, but just like, you know, sometimes you want to run something, and Trey Harris being out there versus Brennan Thompson is kind of a big deal for the offense, actually. Now you may check out of it, you may run play action, you may whatever, but you know, like Thompson is more of the guy that you have certain specific things, designed around. And Trey, looks like we need 2 more for this Millie Maker for anybody that wants to join for the final draft. And I need more 3 freestyle ideas here. But yeah, so I'm drafting a bunch of Trey Harris, but I'm also going to draft Brennan Thompson, and I'm also drafting Ladd, and I'm also drafting QJ, and I'm drafting Hampton, and I'm drafting Keaton, and I'm drafting Vidal. Are you a LaQuint Allen guy? I do like LaQuint Allen. I like all the Jaguars backs as well. Hold on. I think this needs to be JSN, Flowers, JMO, Tyson, Tate. Yeah. All right. So probably running back here. We've got 3 tight ends already. Yeah. Running back. All right. Who do I have? Who have I not drafted? I think that's an. Let's do LeQuint. How about we do LeQuint? LeQuint Allen, Syracuse. Here we go. We made it. We screwed up Wandale because we said Nebraska and not Kentucky, but we made it through all 20 rounds with the college names. We got our 3 St. Louis players on this team, and we reached. What's crazy about this team is when you just look at it or like read it off, you would not really realize if you didn't know the ADP of these players and I read you the team. Let me just read it. And I read you the team, you would be like, seems fine. JSN, Jeremiah Love, Zay Flowers, Jamison Williams, Jordan Tyson, Carnell Tate, Ramondre Stevenson. Is that right? So those top 5 rounds are where the air quotes reaches come in. But if you read that off, you're like, well, seems fine. But we're so like addicted to the ADP part of it that it's like, it was only 6 picks. They still go in the same area. But these guys will never go together. You know what I mean? Not with JSN. What do you say? Tate, Ramondre, Sam Laporta, Jared Goff, Wandale, Cam Ward, Keaton Mitchell, Omar Cooper, Brian Robinson, Hunter Henry, Kamani Vidal, Braylon Allen, Terrence Ferguson, Dejon Stribling, and LeQuint Allen. All right, so the Millie is filling, so we need some prompts here. Oh, first 4 years. That's interesting. Okay, so I'm intrigued. So how can you not draft the same position twice in a row? I don't really understand how that could work, right? I guess that gets really tricky. I guess my brain is not processing because like once you run out of quarterbacks and tight ends, I got to bounce back and forth between running back and wide receiver. It's definitely achievable. I think maybe we'll save that one for when it's not the 3rd draft, when we haven't been talking for an hour and 45 minutes or so. I'm going to scroll back, find some. Let's see. I'm trying to go back. Okay, I'm in for this. Soft fade. Oh, wow. Okay, I can't do those 2 together, but I'm gonna take Justin Jefferson, and I want to try this. Holy shit! I don't know if we'll be able to do multiple, but that is pretty fun. Did I miss that? Finish positions in order. I'm just gonna say in order. That's the start. Okay. Finish positions in order. There's our first one. Trying to go back through. Don't take a QB until I can't do. Don't take a QB till Sam Darnold. Okay. I'm going the opposite way of what you said, Versier, but I agree with you. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Let's see. Okay. I don't think this is achievable. So here's what I'm going to do. I can only draft players from cities that have NBA teams. Is that fair? Finish positions in order. Cities with NBA teams. And then we need one more. And then we need one more. Cities with NBA teams. Bryce Young, QB1. Carolina's in the Panthers are in Charlotte, right? Bryce Young, QB1. Vegas does not have a. Cleveland does. Atlanta does. I don't. That would be really difficult. Because also I want to be able to draft like Green Bay does not. New Orleans does. Tampa does not. Seattle does not, so the Darnold thing wouldn't work. Teams with only players from SEC. Holy shit. Okay, so SEC. All right. I don't think I can do it with the positional thing though. I don't think I can do it with the positional thing. Okay, Rasheed or Neighbors. I probably don't get. All right, let's do Rasheed. So I have to take, let's say, whatever I do here, I have to take all my receivers to start the draft. Then I move on to another position. Doesn't matter yet what position I take. It could be quarterback. It could be tight end. Right? I could double tap quarterback then. I already screwed up the NBA. I already screwed up the NBA thing. Okay. One hot dog. See, okay. Now we're talking. That's a good one. Especially because I just did Rashee Rice. 3 players, same first letter in first, last. Okay. I don't know if that makes sense. Cities with NBA teams. We are going to 10. I'm not taking 10 straight. Oh, 10 running backs. For some reason, I read it as 2, 6, 10. I was like, God damn, Bernie, 10 straight wide receiver seems a little aggressive. But I agree. That's sort of where my head went to first. Is take 6. But it could all. Yeah, I'm trying to think about how the puzzle fits. Definitely 6 wide receivers fits the best, I think, and just leave it at 6. With a bunch of running backs, it's just how many running backs do you take? And I think finishing at running back, you could also finish with 3 tight ends in the last 3 rounds, too. So I'm cheating on the cities with NBA teams. We're gonna draft players from cities with NBA teams. I'm not gonna. I don't think I'm gonna be able to hit them all, but we're gonna try. Okay, we're gonna try because the other 2 are gonna be very difficult. We're gonna get as many players, right? When given the opportunity to draft a player from an NBA city, or when given the opportunity to draft a player with the same first and last name, we're gonna do it. But it has to. Number 1, this is the first freestyle that has a hierarchy to it. I have to do the first prompt first. Okay, back on the clock. Oops, back on the clock. Wide receiver. Are there any wide receivers with the same? So I said this should be. God damn it! I hate Ibuka. This should be an Ibuka team, right? Because EE. Tampa doesn't have Tampa doesn't have an NBA team. They have an NHL team. Are the Lightning still in the playoffs? This is fun. These are fun. This gets the brain. This gets the brain going. Let me think about this. If I do 6 If I do 6 wide receivers, then my first pick is pick 79. That'll put me in range for Mahomes. Okay. Then my next pick is what? 90, which will put me Herbert. Beautiful. Herbert. So Castle says, I hope you used a free ticket for this one. What is beautiful about these teams is that they're actually usually just as good. Just as good. You're still taking guys like pretty close to ADP. You're still building structurally sound teams. They're a little bit crazier than maybe the average draft, but when I go back, I'll go back through. I remember going back through during part of the season and finding some of the like sort of crazy like wheel stream drafts and stuff like that, and you'd be shocked. Like they advance at just the same rate as all the rest of them. Wow, T, that's a nice discount on T. I'll take it. I'll take it. I do wonder. I'm just trying to think about the ordering of quarterback and tight end. Running back probably just has to go last unless I do tight end last. Like I could definitely do tight end last. I could even do 4. 2, 8, 6, 4. That would be kind of fun. And do 4 tight ends at the end. I mean, there's people out there taking 4 tight ends already as it is. If I'm going to fully punt the thing, but I'm going to get 2 good quarterbacks. Great point. If there's a falling weather, right? So I think the right answer is wide receiver, then quarterback, because you know you're going to get 2 good quarterbacks, and you know you're obviously getting 6 good wide receivers. Then, so that's 8 rounds. Then in round 9, whether or not the best pick is a running back or a tight end, right? Somebody that getting a fall or getting a really good player at that spot, I think would best determine which route you take. I think that's the right answer. No. Yes, I did. Yeah, technically I did, I guess. But I do think it would be fun to try. There's a million ways to skin a cat, which I don't know. Where did that phrase come from? What does that mean? Who's skinning cats? I'm sure this is going to get dark, and I'm not going to like it. But why is that a phrase? I'm just checking if there are double names. Okay. I don't know if I want to take Mike Evans on a 6 wide receiver team. But it could give me Purdy outs. So I should. Right. So Mahomes, because Ibuka, I'm not going to be able to get Burrow. He's probably gone already. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to get Burrow. It's not the end of the world. I can stack with running backs and tight ends and stuff. But I would like to have the outs like Mahomes, Purdy, or something like that to do, if at all possible. San Francisco does have the Warriors. They're in San Francisco, right? Not in Oakland anymore. Is that right? That is true. Bucks for the Packers makes sense. Milwaukee, close enough, right? How far away is that? Not very far, I don't think. Professor says, I feel like Brennan Thompson isn't really a threat to any Chargers wide receiver. He's more like the wide receiver version of Keaton Mitchell. Fast toys for McDaniels. Harris was drafted higher in the hopes to replace Keenan. So I agree. But if he's on the field, someone has to come off. Right. So like, it doesn't matter in that like this, like Ladd or QJ or Keenan are not going to play because Brennan is playing every snap. But there's only so many routes available in a game. Let's say you drop back to pass. Let's just say you drop back to pass 40 times. 5 of them result in scrambles or sacks. It's 35 pass attempts. Most receivers don't run 100% of the routes, right? So 35. Let's knock it down to 30, just because. Okay, this is my last wide receiver. So what I would like to do is again get somebody in that window, maybe BTJ. Because where does Lawrence go? 85. Let's do Brian Thomas Jr. Oh God, BTJ on this in this wide receiver room. Okay, we're doing BTJ because it gives me another out to Lawrence. So I have outs to Lawrence, Purdy. I mean, technically Baker, but I don't really want to do that. Mahomes and Kyler. Right, but so all right, so 35 routes are available. Let's just say the most routes on the team is at 30. That's not necessarily true, right? You might get somebody who runs 34 or something. But really almost no one has 100% route participation. So you have 30 routes available, right? That's with 40 pass attempts or dropbacks. 40 dropbacks, you get 30, the peak is 30 routes. If Brennan takes 5 of them, you're like, well, now you only got 25 routes that you're running on a given week, right? For someone like, and that's only him taking, that's just taking 5. Like you can have 5 gimmicky shot plays or whatever to Brennan Thompson it's not the end of the world, but it is also not irrelevant, if that makes sense. Is this for real? Skin a cat is about skinning catfish. It's taken me 38 years to learn that that's what that means. In this draft? Are you in this draft or were you in the other one? What? Chargers probably won't be great. Them's fighting words on this channel, brother or sister. Them's fighting words. The Chargers are absolutely going to be great. Assuming health, which you cannot assume ever, right? But they also have all this depth is great for even if injuries do happen. Okay. So now I'm at quarterback. So Mahomes went. No, Mahomes did not go. So now I have to do double tap quarterback. Kansas City again does not have Jacksonville also does not have a NBA team. All right, Mahomes it is. So we close out quarterback. Oh, you posted. Got it. Lamar Hurts, Lawrence. Okay, that's a lot of quarterback draft capital. JT, Brees, Braylon bought the backfield. Jordan Mason, Tank, Giddens, Randall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, 10 roster spot. London, Zay, Parker, Myers, Naylor, Tesla. Okay, I mean, I like the wide receiver room. It's a little bit, there's a little bit more spent on quarterback plus running back than I like. And I think Strange plus Stowers, I think, is a little weaker at the tight end spot than I personally like. Like Goddard is still there. London, Zay, Parker, Jacoby, Naylor. I'm totally Lamar plus Zay, Hurts plus Stowers, and then Lawrence plus Parker, Jacoby, and Strange. Yeah, I mean the stacks look totally fine to me. I think It's a little bit of a weak tight end room and maybe a little overkill at quarterback. And so that's about all. That's about it. Okay, so Purdy's here. Purdy's here, right? Yeah, yeah. I'm going to take Purdy over. I have Purdy higher than Kyler. I'm going to take Purdy over Kyler. Purdy Evans. Okay. Now, as we said before, we have to get Purdy also on the San Francisco 49ers, which we're classifying as the Golden State Warriors. So we're checking as many of the NBA boxes as we can. Getting 3 players first letter. We have 2, right? Rashee Rice, double R, Emeka Buka, double E. We need 1 more of those guys. And making sure it wasn't. This is going to be tricky. It's going to be tricky. But now we will figure out either running back or tight end first. And it remains to be seen exactly what that will be. Because if you're just joining now, the one of the freestyle ideas for this draft is to finish positions in the order that you draft them. So if you draft wide receiver first, you have to finish your wide receiver room and you never draft them again. Then you move on to a new position. Oh, you start quarterback, you draft your quarterbacks, and you move on to another position, right? So we're done with wide receiver. We're done with quarterback. Now we're on to running back and tight end, and we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Gemini. Oh, from Gemini. The phrase likely originated in the 19th century. It'd be a variant of older British saying more ways of killing a cat than choking it with cream. What the hell does that mean? Who's choking cats with cream? Humans are sick and fucking twisted. Why? Or did cats just naturally choke on cream? Who's choking cats? Why are you? I guess it says there's more ways of killing a cat than choking. Why? What do you need to kill the cat for? With cream? To choke? Jesus Christ. Agreed. I would not close out a team with Solo Mahomes. Am I not thinking it through right, or is Ridley too cheap? I think he's fine. I would classify Ridley as fine. Once you get back into, the 170s and 180s and stuff like that, like a guy who should go in the 150s or whatever, and he goes in the 170s, is like probably too cheap. But Ridley isn't all that great anymore. They added Wandale and Carnell Tate, and there's already some small concerns about, is Cam Ward any good? How good is the offense going to be? And then how many targets is he going to get? I think I've drafted him, but I classifying like draftable versus too cheap is like sort of semantics, but also somewhat difficult to define. You could argue if anyone that's draftable could be argued to be underpriced. Okay, Pitts is a value, and there's not real Pitts or Dobbins. This team could use Dobbins to get out of the gates at running back. And if I take Pitts, then I have to take Kincaid, but I could also take Kelsey. Let's do Pitts. And then either Kelsey or Kincaid. Or Gadsden or Goddard, and then we're going to rip a whole bunch of running backs. Oh, I forgot about Justin Jefferson. It was literally the first 3 picks. And I forgot about Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson, Rashee Rice, Emeka Buka. Bang, bang, bang. Yeah. May 14th. All right. Beautiful. things you really do love to see. It's a Southern thing. That makes sense. Take the falling Pitts, but Ferguson is fair if you like Ferguson better. Stop. Dogs are being whiny. They want to walk. So now we'll take Kelsey. Correct? Yeah. We'll take Kelsey. Give us the Chiefs stack. And then give me this dog's whine. My wife just left and this dog's. Give me 2 seconds to check on this. Always something. Just a neighbor dog. Just a neighbor dog. All right, let's see. Hometown matching initials, born on a Sunday. There you go. Yeah, exactly. Ridley is better than Judy if Judy doesn't get traded, but I take Judy for when he gets traded. I haven't thought about that. Man, Judy is just not very good. So that's definitely an issue. But any other landing spot would probably be better than Cleveland, so I can't necessarily argue with that. Thoughts on Jennings? Oh, yeah, I can't believe we didn't talk about that. Thoughts on Jennings signing with the Vikings? I think it's good for all parties. I think the Vikings could use, like, if we want them to really be like an outstanding offense, getting that. I think he's a good fit. Addison's a little bit more of a lid lifter. Justin Jefferson can do everything. And then having sort of a physical, big-bodied guy to round it all out, who fits in the offense, KOC, Shanahan style stuff is good. It's good for Kyler. I think it's going to raise the ceiling of the offense. I think it's like, if you've been drafting Juwan up until now, I think it's fine. I think it's totally fine. Okay, hold on. I got to go to running back now, right? Yeah, all running backs the rest of the way. Damn, Worthy's here. That sucks. Okay, Mason doesn't catch a lot of passes. I think I'm going to do, what's my rank, Brooks? I'm going to do Rashad White. Gross. It's gross. It's gross. I know. I'm going to need some early running back points. And at least Rashad White catches passes. You know what I mean? So click and pray. Shouldn't move Jennings much, but Addison should fall. Already felt like Addison was overpriced. Addison with Kyler is a good bet. I think it makes Hawk even worse. Yes, I think if you want to spin it against anyone other than Justin Jefferson, I think that you can. I don't think Juwan Jennings is that good. Like, if Jordan Addison was good enough to go, like, where did he go in this draft? Probably like in the 90s. 104. If Jordan Addison is good enough to go around pick 100 without Juwan Jennings, he has to be good enough with Juwan Jennings. Like, Juwan Jennings is really just an NFL wide receiver at this point, which is better than what they had at wide receiver 3 before. And that's nice. But the NFL sort of showed you what they thought about Juwan Jennings. And his level of play last year was pretty much that. He essentially had a couple of good games, like, in his entire career, that have sort of buoyed the opinion of him. And then him being on the 49ers really, from a fantasy sense, we're like, well, like, he's a starting wide receiver on the San Francisco 49ers, and he had a kind of good half a season once. I think he's just like a league average wide receiver or something, which is a good starting. If you're a league average wide receiver is your starting wide receiver 3 on your team, that's good for your offense. But I'm not sure it's impacting any of these other guys as bets. At least that's how I'm thinking about it right now. Yeah, he's like a big slot. They'll move him all around. But hilariously, Addison is the most strapped to the outside guy, and he's the smallest of all three of them. But JJ can play in the slot. Juwan can play like a big slot. Hawkinson is a solid receiving tight end. That is a great question. He's a big fan of dyeing his hair team colors. Probably purple. Probably purple. That's true. That's true. He naturally has to get more targets than Addison because Kyler can actually see Juwan at 6'4" or whatever he is, as opposed to 5'11" Addison. Damn, Jonathan Brooks goes. Okay, Tracy's fine. Tracy's fine. You know, it seems Scattaboo's going to be fine off of his injury, but it's also possible he comes out a little bit slower. And then Tracy just naturally has contingent value, of course. If something happens to Scattaboo again, we saw a contingent value from him last year. Can catch passes, also important for this team and on DraftKings. Better block. Yeah, Juwan is a good blocker. I know that for sure. So helpful. I just think it's good for the offense. I understand it's easy to be like, well, he runs in the same area of the field as this guy. And like, when we look back, a lot of that is just gobbledygook that we come up with over the summer to sort of try to rationalize a way to like a player more and less. It's like Marvin Harrison wins in the same place as Michael Wilson does. But Marvin Harrison got hurt, and then Michael Wilson was still good when Marvin Harrison came back. It's like, you know, it's not wrong. It's definitely not wrong to think about, but like, I don't know, Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce win in the same areas. And Xavier Worthy is the difference maker, right? He's the guy who's going to lift the lid. He's the guy who wins because of Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce. They're going to both, steal each other's targets. I'm like, no, Worthy's just not very good. They're just going to throw it to the good guys who get open and Patrick Mahomes trusts. Like look at Aaron Rodgers' offenses. There is no downfield element. They all operate in the same area. Gainwell and Freiermuth, and they tried to make Metcalf into a slant boy, Oh God. Oh, look, more Keaton. More Keaton coming. Keaton, come on down. This is an interesting strategy for potentially trying to buy some cheap backfields, right? Like say Bill's not the guy. Having Rachaad White and buying Washington with him and Katron, the Keaton and Vidal thing. Obviously, I don't have Tony Pollard, but like, oh, if you can get Tyjae Spears and Nick Singleton and be like, Tony Pollard's not the thing. Who else? Let's see. You could do Ray Davis and Ty Johnson. Sometimes one of them, generally a little bit more Ty Johnson, but sometimes one of them will have some usefulness even when James Cook is out there. And then if something happens to James Cook, you get two guys who you get two sort of shots on goal. They both could provide value, or just one. I lean towards Ray Davis, of course, but it's not like Ty Johnson's never had good games, especially without James Cook. Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis, Chris Brooks, Marshawn Lloyd is super gross, but Malik Davis and Jaden Blue, Jalen Wright, Ollie Gordon, Jordan James, and Kalen Black, Justice Hill and Rasheen Ali, right? There's a bunch of different like fun. I kind of like this. You know, I don't love the way in which we got here with cities with NBA teams and 3 players with first whatever, but I kind of do love sort of what the end result is coming to be. I'm sticking to I want to make sure I stick to some of the guys that I love. Dylan Sampson. But sort of the lesson you can kind of learn from this is what if you just like straight, right? So like 0 running back. Part of the difficulty is, are you even going to find like upside running backs? Are you going to get enough points early in the season? And you can sort of mitigate some of that by buying backfields, right? You're taking 10 of them, buy 3 backfields. Be like, look, Chargers are going to give me something. What did we say? Bills are going to give me something, right? These Bills second and third backs are going to give me something. The Washington second and third backs are going to give me something. You know, in this, you can almost buy White and Bill. They both went in the 11th round. Chris Rodriguez plus LeQuint, right? Try that. Try C-Rod plus LeQuint. Can get you some early points. What if Tootin's not the guy? What if Tootin gets hurt? Who else? You know, the Ravens thing, like Justice Hills can catch some passes. What if it's Rasheen Ali alongside him? Yeah, now we're looking. Yeah, where did gobbledygook come from? Gobbledygook. The word was coined in 1944 by Maury Maverick, a Texas politician and then chairman of the U.S. Smaller War Plants. Say that one. U.S. Smaller War Plants Corporation. What is the now look that one up? What is the U.S. Smaller War Plants Corporation? Yeah, but you risk losing your pod. Why do you risk losing your pod buying backfields more than like? What's the difference? If anything, theoretically, right? The thesis now in any micro example, it won't work out. But the thesis is, I'm consolidating. I'm going there. Something is coming from this backfield. It's actually raising my floor in my pod. Is by betting on the right, because if you let's say you do one guy from the Bills and one guy from the Titans. You can get the wrong one in both just as easily. Like the math works out just the same. So that's pretty interesting. I am gonna do. I really want Tank Bigsby on this team as the handcuff to Saquon. From a raw ceiling perspective, I think on a team like that, you need some of those too. Without taking several good RBs from your pool. Oh, you mean just like 0? You just mean 0 running back? You have a chance to lose in your pod? Sure. Yeah, for sure. The point is you risk losing your, the moment the draft fills, you risk losing your pod. 10 to 12 teams are not going to advance. If it were so easy to advance with just drafting running backs, right, then this would be a really easy game. We would all do it. But it's not that easy. Even the people who, draft like early, like they still have like a good advance rate is 20%. That still means 80% of your teams are failing. So you still need some of the right players. We're trying to find a way to combine some players in a unique way that can still get you out of your pod, right? But then gives you additional upside in the I'm just going to take Ray Davis now because I want to try the Buffalo one. right? Can you sneak through? The teams you'll be most excited about in the playoffs are the ones that like sort of sneak through with random players that you don't generally expect to see on the playoff teams. All season you'll be looking at your really good ones, right? Your air quotes good teams that are really good in the regular season because they have the big hits, right? You're like, look at this JT. This is me, literally me. Look at this. I think nearly every So here's one. I don't care about. I could not possibly care less what winning teams have. I think nearly every winner had 2 of 4 running backs in the first 4 picks. Like, truly don't care. I almost won BBM, and my first running back taken was like in round 10 a couple years ago. Like, if you had it, like it doesn't matter. Like Pete Overzet and I drafted a 0 running back team that got 7th in BBM. As we said before, there's a bunch of ways to skin a cat. Just because a winning team, most people, right? It's a sort of a sampling bias thing. Most drafts, people take early running backs. And so most teams that win will probably be teams that take early running backs. It's like most people draft 3 quarterbacks. So most of the top teams are 3 quarterbacks. That doesn't mean that 3 quarterbacks is better. It just means more people do it. And so it's not to say that early running backs are bad. I draft early running backs too. But or certainly more than I have. But like the Kyron year, right? The Achane year, the Mostert year. There's like the Rashad Penny year. There's all these late running backs that have smashed too. And you could have built awesome 0 running back teams, but it comes down to usually like, does an early wide receiver or an early tight end smash in week 17 or does an early running back? And that's just variance, right? But Kyron had a 35-point underdog game the year he went nuts, and he was still only like 15% owned in the final. Devon Achane had a big game that year. So there was a lot of different ways to win it without early running backs, even in those seasons. What do we say, Katron or Vidal? Fuck. I'm going to prioritize the Charger one over Vidal or over Katron. Justice. I want to remind myself of Ty Johnson before I get excited talking about running backs. So gobbledygook is meant to sound like the sound of turkeys gobbling. And that's what bureaucratic jargon sounds like, is what Maury Maverick. Is that his real name? What a name. I could have drafted him as one of my same first initial and last, or same first name, first letter, same last name, first letter. Shout out to Bernie. His DraftKings tournament winner, his first running back was Dobbins in round 7, and Madison was RB2 in round 11. So that's what I mean. Like, we always ever only look at like BBM, right, or the DK Millie or whatever. There's other tournaments, and also how I try to think about it is not what did win, what can win, or even sometimes what could have won. And there's been multiple years where maybe the team that won did have went running back to start a draft. Damn, both those guys got drafted. Sean Tucker, Claiborne, Jordan James, Team Mercado. I have a Buka, right? We'll do Sean Tucker. Boy, does get awfully rough here in the late rounds at running back. Okay, just make sure I get a little bit of a queue going here. But that's the big thing. Again, as I said, I think what can win, what could have won. We do have a tool. Were you a 3, 4, or pod winner? Because what do you mean by that? We do have a tool that you can use. It's called Draft Rewind down here on the site. people probably don't know about it, and it's totally understandable. Or you can go back and sort of construct teams from past seasons, right? So if I can, it goes back to 2024, right? So let me move my head out of the way because it's kind of covering the important part there, right? So I can go back to 2024 and I can pick whatever scoring system and I can start to build teams, and it'll tell you. I'll have to do this at a later date, but I can be like, okay, I took Jamar Chase, right? I took Jamar Chase and whatever, like start to construct the team. I took Chase. This is 2024, so Saquon's going to be probably pretty popular here. And I took London, and I took, whatever. Devontae Smith, and you put it all together. You put the team together, and it's going to tell you, here's what you would have scored in the regular season. Here's what you would have compared to, right, the total points that like you needed generally to advance, or here's what the BBM winner was. Here's how many points you would have scored in week 17. Here's how many points you would have scored in week 16, week 15, etc. So you can like go back and find not just what right. It's easy to go look at what won. There's just huge sampling bias on that. There's 100,000 teams drafted. There are millions and millions of teams that could have been drafted. So like you could have drafted a team that beat the winner, but we only go look at what the winner drafted. Right? Why don't we go look at what could have been drafted or what could have won? Right? And then when we're projecting forward, think about the scenarios that could win. There's a million of them. And so like I'm always thinking about what could have won, what can win in the future, not what did win, and not copy pasting from the past. Because all it takes, like, dude, these early running backs are not super awesome to me. I mean, Bijan and Gibbs are pretty awesome. I'm into Genty, but you could make a case against him too. Like Saquon sucked last year. When has Ken Walker ever been worth a second round pick? When has a Chiefs running back been worth a second round pick? Right? Etienne's on the shittiest team in the league. Hampton wasn't very good last year and has two other backs behind him. Chase Brown is like an accumulator on a high scoring offense that, whatever. He's never been a difference maker at this price. Jeremiah Love, right? I can make up examples. Derrick Henry doesn't catch passes, getting older. Breece Hall, he's on the fucking Jets, right? Kyron Williams. We can go on and on and on and on about all the different guys and some of the flaws. I want to make sure I buy this Buffalo backfield. I think it's kind of fun on this team. We'll take Ty Johnson. We got one more pick. A lot of teams in later pods are pushed in by DK as a consolation, and then you have rare teams. I'm not following. If the tournament fills, you do not get DraftKings is not pushing teams in later pods through, and then you have rare. I'm not following. So how basketball tournament works is, let's just say there's 100,000 people that enter. Let's say 112,000 people that whatever. There's 100,000 people that enter. Let's try to back this up. Let's just say there's 1,000 initial pods. This is absolutely not true. There's 1,000 initial pods that happen. Two out of every pod advance. If the tournament does, you're referring to overlay and wildcard teams. If a tournament does not fill, they still are legally obligated to advance the same amount of teams that are in their that are right, the rules of the contest. So if the rules say this many people advance, then they have to advance that many teams, even if the tournament didn't fill. That this is absolutely not true. I can assure you, DraftKings knows significantly more about the law of how these games work than you do and than I do. Legally, what they're doing, if the content, right, you advance, the amount of teams is set the moment they launch the tournament. The amount of teams that advance, whether it fills halfway full or all the way full. But if it fills all the way full, it's still the same amount of teams. They don't push consolation teams through. They set the top X amount of those teams. And so if it does not fill, you get right third place teams, sometimes maybe fourth place teams, depending on if it really doesn't fill, that advance because they are legally obligated to advance the same amount of teams, whether or not it filled. But if it fills, there's not consolation teams going through if it fills. And if it's like 98%, there's a very tiny little bit of teams that are going through. I mean, yeah, okay. Good luck as well. Like, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just explaining how this game works. Yeah, sorry. I hope you have a good weekend. It's just how it works. I'd be happy to explain a different time. What a good note to end on. It's a great note also because I'm going to take Malik Davis. Malik Davis is a cheat code in a 10 wide receiver room. This is a really fun draft stream. This particular team has my mind spinning, I will say. Maybe not exactly this, right? Maybe not NBA teams and such, which we failed sort of spectacularly on, but I'm pretty comfortable with of course, hitting the other two milestones on this draft. The NBA teams one was maybe a little bit too tricky to combine with other freestyle ideas. Justin Jefferson, Rashee Rice, Emeka Buka. We nailed our first last name immediately. T. Higgins, Mike Evans, Brian Thomas Jr. Then we got to pivot to a new position. Patrick Mahomes and Brock Purdy, of course, stacked with Rashee Rice and Mike Evans. Kyle Pitts, Travis Kelce, more Chiefs stuff there. And then we just hammer a whole bunch of running backs. We bought a couple of backfields, sort of mixed and matched the style of the running backs, right? Rachaad White, kind of boring pass catcher on a Washington team that doesn't really have any good running backs. Tyrone Tracy, what are we going to get from Scat right out of the gate? Who knows? But also contingent value on Scattaboo. Keaton Mitchell, and we took Vidal later. Dylan Sampson, I just quite like, especially on DraftKings. Tank Bigsby, sort of the old school straight handcuff upside bet. Ray Davis, and we bought the extra backs in Buffalo, the non-James Cook backs, Sean Tucker and Malik Davis. This was a lot of fun. This is what Fridays will be here. And as mentioned, we started it this week, brand new schedule. I'm working to try to get video content here on the channel every single day over the course of the summer. We got to figure out some Sunday and Monday stuff, but I promise you it's coming Tuesday through Friday for the rest of the summer until the football season gets here. 11 a.m. Eastern, you can hang out here and join me. Tomorrow, I have a new episode of Legendary Sickos dropping tomorrow, Saturday morning. I don't have the exact time yet. I got to edit the video a little bit later today, and you'll get a new episode of Legendary Sickos tomorrow. If you guys can like the channel or like the stream, all that kind of fun stuff, right? Subscribe and everything. We're almost to 4,000 subscribers, which is pretty fun. And I'm trying to be a little bit more serious and regimented with the process this summer. It's been a really fun week, a really fun Freestyle Friday. Enjoy Mother's Day. Say I love you and thank you to your mothers, and take them out for a nice meal or cook them a nice meal or whatever. Your wives, your sisters, your everything. Enjoy the weekend, and I'll see you guys somewhat tomorrow. You'll see me and Pat tomorrow, but I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Cheers.
Woo! Those were some spicy takes. Want to stay up to date with all of the other spicy takes we're going to have over here at Spike Week? Why don't you press that subscribe button below? You turn notifications on, we draft a team, boom, you know about it. We have another spicy take, boom, you know about it. You can be there. You can draft with us. You want to stay up to date? That's how you do it. All right, we'll catch you later next time here at Spike Week.